to do a quick walk around on the, we call it the little Morbark. I believe it is, I saw on it somewhere 2100 Thunder is the model. I have to look that up. This is a 12-inch machine. Was purchased on the cheap from a municipality in pretty good shape. I don't know a whole lot about it. I do use it a lot in a machinery swap setup that I do with another company in case we need something, because I have the big machine and nothing smaller, and in a situation like this I need it. I just want to get this stuff chipped and blow it off into the shrubbery. There it is, model 2100D Thunder. I'm not sure that's what it really is. It does have a John Deere in it, that I know. Looks like it's 5235 John Deere. And the other number that's on here, I'll look them up and put it in the caption, is the R124850. It's a JD3, but it is a John Deere. There's a builder's plate. Pretty standard stuff here. This is the old lift out. Get a little dented, but you lift them up and pull out the bottom. I don't want to get involved in it. I had a pain in the ass when I was checking the oil before I started it. Dipsticks right there, oil filter, fuel filter, all right on this side. It's a good machine, good running engine. A lot of standard stuff here. This one in particular comes with an auto feed, which I've never seen on a machine this small. You know, a lot of these stuff are off-the-shelf products. The air filter system, look at the thing, you know. It's same as on every other machine, of course. It's industrial-grade Legos with the engines. Standard Rockford PTO for all these small machines, 200 XPs, 200 pluses, 150s, you know, brush bands, they all have the same PTO. We're going to do quick on the grease fittings. Front bearing, I had to take this off, is where this bearing fitting is. You got this here. This is what I don't understand. They have a piston in here. Oh, I'm cracking a weld here, see that? But they have this piston in here to dampen everything, which means that this comes with a brush lift system. So you get a brush system, and I've never seen somebody put one of these as a damper and not put that in. These are the springs down here that pull everything tight. This has an arrow for a grease fitting that I couldn't find in here. I think you might have to take this cowling off, which is silly. This is the hydraulic motor for the feed wheel. Yeah, the feed wheel. Standard on the brush bar, you know, spit out, put in. There's a couple of things here that are unique to Morbark, which I do not like. It'll get you by, but this is a 12-inch machine. Got one feed wheel, and then it presses against the bottom of the hopper with the other end. And I find that it just doesn't take the brush like you would want to take it. I guess it is what it is, but that's the downfall for Morbark. Unlike a lot of Morbarks I've seen that are drum machines, this is a disc machine. It looks like it's got a 36-inch disc in there, I'm guessing. It's got these plates for doing your knives. One on each side, that's how you change your knives, your knife blocks. Diesel and hydraulic. One tank with a partition. I'm going to say that that is a 40 gallon tank, maybe. That's a pretty big fuel tank for a little chipper. You know? All right, this side isn't dented, so let's see if we can show you how the sides come off there. Yeah, nah, I'm not even going to bother. So, anyway, yeah. It was a municipal buy, like I said, Village of Port Chester, New York. It's a good running machine. We got a couple more Zerks here, grease Zerks. This is another one here. So there really aren't a whole lot in here because they've stepped down. You have on the armature here, you have one. You have one over there on the armature because it only has a single armature. it runs at chips, you know. It does not have live hydraulics, which is a feature I find really useful, which means you can't back something out of the feed wheels if you get a jam in here unless you have the clutch engaged. So if something happens and you suck a chunk in and you stall the engine, you're gonna have a hard time getting it out. And of course, without the brush, the hopper lift system, this is like a really, really, really problematic issue. The brush lift, you can lift this up at least if you can get it running again and get whatever you need out. So you're kind of stuck. You have to jack this up. I'm guessing it has a leg jack on the other side, right? I thought I saw one there. Yeah, you can stick your tongue jack here, and then it goes in here with the pin, and they got it cut so it can rotate, and then you can crank it up by hand if you have to. I guess it's one way out, right? So yeah, here's another greaser for you here. I don't know if I pointed that out, but yeah, super simple on the hydraulics. Not a lot to break on these machines. For smaller machines where it's viable, it's got a really nice manual setup, and it's simple. It has the old rope pull, and it's got a peg. And I got to tell you, you know, a lot of people don't realize what a great setup this is. And unlike with Brush Bandit machines where they have an array of holes back here, they only have one hole on each side and one in the front. So you're kind of pigeonholed to going I think it's 5 across the back, or you have 6, 7, and 8, so you can go 90 in each direction, or you can pin it up all the way around in reverse. This has got holes like every, what, 5 degrees, 10 degrees, whatever it is. But this is a much more adjustable machine. I do like how they have the chute on here. It's not one piece. This whole head bolts on top, and I really like that, because what you can do with this, which you can't do with a lot of machines, is you can take this and undo these bolts and drop them down, which makes the chute go up higher. It's also, if you get a chute clog, much easier to get in here. Brush Bandits, to get in there, you have to open up the wheel where you change the knives and reach your arm up and through the hopper. This is like a really great feature. So we'll show you how this thing works. Try to get it centered on the pin so you can get your pin out first. Alright, and then it's just a matter of swinging her around. And they put the rope on. So you can pull it. You know what I mean? It's like a generally all-around nice setup. Super simple, very little to break. And you know, for a small machine, that's really all you need. And then you just drop your pin in, and that's going to do it. That'll find its way home. That is like one of the great features. Standard starting procedure. You know, when you go to start it, you hold the Murphy switch in, crank her over, she goes right up this machine. I don't know what else to really talk about. We'll just do a little chipping. We'll engage the clutch, we'll do some chipping. You can see how it feeds. I have found that, in particular with these machines, the other issue is you're going to want to keep a saw handy. It is a long way from this point where the chute is as narrow as it gets all the way to the feed wheels. That looks like it's about 36 inches almost, and that is a long way. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 30 inches. And that's a long way, which means if it doesn't fit in there, it's not going to chip easily. It won't. With Brush Bandit, they used 2 smaller feed wheels, and they had moved everything super close so that it will feed in and it will be cutting in closer to the feed wheel, which means it has potential to cut a lot of crotches and let them close. This machine does not work like that, and you're going to see how that impacts when I chip. Other than that, with this machine, the proof is in the pudding, and let's show you what we got. Reverse and feed. See, straight brush fine. Prime example right there. Now that feed wheel will eventually shoot through that. So you see what I'm talking about as far as the feed is concerned. You have no way to put down pressure on it. Now that's just small wiry brush, so that'll give you a good idea of exactly what I'm talking about. Now when you have a little meat like this, it does seem to go quite a bit better. Much nicer, right? Okay, we're gonna get into some bigger, funny shaped stuff now. So this is kind of where the rubber meets the road for a chipper. Let's see if we can wiggle her in. This is a really good example of why this is like a fail on behalf of Morbark. Babysit a machine to get something like that through. There you go. Now let's see what we gotta do to get this to go in. About a third of the way through, won't break it. And look, this is not that wide across, so it's going to have to go in this far before that starts cutting. So let's see if we can get another direction to break. Sam won't even climb up that. Don't forget now, let's push it down. Pushing it in. Yep. Classic Morbark fail. You have a piece of brush like this, you should not have to spend the time fighting with it or cutting it with a 12-inch machine. The biggest piece of this is 4 inches in diameter. now. And you see a little time I just taken up. On something like that. Now this doesn't have a chance of making it through there, I'm going to say. I would love to see it surprise me. I really would, because then it'll give us something to talk about. But I hate to say it. This time is we're going to break all this out and see how she handles it now. Now they're all loose. We're going to take this and we're going to put it in there and see how far the teeth marks go up it after it starts hitting the feed wheel. Okay? About 36. Takes a beating. Stuff is beating on it all the time. It's either you're making it so heavy it's hard to manage, or you're making it so light it just bends like crazy. I don't know why manufacturers do not make solid decks on the rear of their machine. It would just seem to be a whole lot smarter. Manufacturing wise, you run that plate of steel straight out, gusset it, reinforce it with a couple of things going up. It eliminates hinge, it eliminates pins and drilling, and so that's, I'm just throwing that out there. It just doesn't seem to make any sense from a logistics standpoint. It's just another thing. Now I got to push this up and play with it because it's bent. You know what I'm saying? This side, it's all lopsided. You got that hinge. When that breaks, people replace it. Just extend the rear of the machine a little bit. I mean, I guess they want to bring it in tighter for towing. I don't know. But if a solid deck, I've always found to be much better. Aspen used to make whipper chippers that had solid decks that came to a point, which actually worked pretty well. I was kind of a fan of that. So anyways, that's it. Put her in neutral.